Hey everyone, welcome to Azuria Plays. My name is AJ, and today we're continuing our journey through the Galar region in this Egglocke Challenge series. In the last episode, we got some revenge from Bede in the Galar mines. We wiped out the Motostoke Sudowoodo population after they sent poor Bokoblin to the Shadow Realm, before we ventured into the Fire Gym for an uphill struggle against Kabu to earn the Fire Badge. If you haven't seen how poor Ganon got banished to the Sacred Realm, you can check out last week's episode in the playlist linked in the description below. To start things off this week, we are heading to the wild area to catch ourselves some new team members, as well as hatching the egg that we obtained from the Fire Gym catching challenge. As we leave the gym, Kabu runs after us, and I was hoping he was coming to apologise for crushing our spirits and two of our team members, but alas, he's come to wish us well on the rest of our journey. Milo and Nessa have left their respective gyms to join Kabu in wishing us well on the journey ahead. Despite their best efforts, I'm sure we will be fine. Before we get a chance to collect our new egg, Hop drags us to the wild area as he's raring to explore and add some new Pokemon to his team. Bede then appears to give us some trash talk despite getting overpowered in the mines, and Hop decides to follow in our footsteps and teach him a lesson he won't soon forget. Hop then explains that he's going to show this Wally his true skills, and like the good friend we are, we leave Hop to it and venture out on our own rather than staying behind to cheer him on. We sneak back into Motostoke to grab our new egg and get to work on hatching whatever is inside. As we cycle the streets, we learn that Motostoke is haunted and seems to have a little issue with ghosts patrolling the streets. We first spot this lady who wanders into view, and once we loop around on her bike, she has mysteriously disappeared. Wanting to investigate this further, we approach this gentleman who also disappears on us. After this discovery, we get back to hatching our egg as quickly as possible so we can escape before the spirits of our deceased Pokemon come back to haunt us. Our egg begins to hatch, and we end up with a Chewtle. At this point, I'm convinced the game is trolling us, as a water rock type would have been handy about 5 minutes ago while we were struggling against Kabu. We named the Chewtle Snapper after the enemies from Majora's Mask, and he soon evolves into a Dreadnought while levelling up. Anyway, we continue to the wild area, where we make a quick pit stop to pick up the leftovers, which will allow us to get some residual healing at the end of each turn, and hopefully help prevent a repeat of the Fire Gym. We then cross the bridge into the second half of the wild area, where we go on a catching spree, getting a Cutiefly from the riverbank, an Inkay from the bridge field, and a Cubchoo from the stony wilderness. We then venture into the Giant's Mirror, where the Pokemon are much stronger at level 42. Unfortunately, the current gym badges we have don't allow us to catch them when they're this high level, so we flee from the battle. As we weren't actually allowed to catch that Pokemon, I'm not going to count that as this section's encounter, and I'll come back from it later. As we approach Hammerlock City, we catch a Carablast in the Hammerlock Hills, and make our way to the city proper. Outside, this gentleman checks our gym badges, and lets us pass since we have the grass, water and fire badge. It seems a bit elitist to block off an entire city to only people with gym badges. Maybe it's just a clever tactic to limit travel and halt the spread of the Rona. Bede appears to show off his new badges, and tells us how he humiliated Hop, and personally, I take umbrage at that. I'm the only one who's allowed to slag Hop, so it seems that we now have an extra reason to enact revenge upon Bede. He smugly storms into Hammerlock, and we follow behind. Upon entry, we are given a panoramic view of the stadium, which looks to double as the city's castle, before the camera zooms into a Dragoness statue. Once we enter, we meet the chairman, Alina, and Bede, who are all having a nice socially distant catch-up. But between me and you, the chairman and Alina look to be a little bit too close. Tut tut. We learn that the chairman is looking for wishing stars to help secure the future of Galar, and whenever someone is trying to secure the future, it usually means troubles for the heroes of the story. So let's hope he doesn't try pulling anything fishy, like he did back in Hulbury. Bad seafood jokes aside, the chairman then tells us that wishing stars hold a large amount of energy that can be used for more than supersizing my Pokemon, and that we should follow him into the stadium to learn more about the way the Galar region gets its power. But I have a better idea. but let's hatch some eggs. I get to work on the 4 new eggs from the wild area. And they hatch into a Skovit that I named Julhala after the boss from the Earth Temple in the Wind Waker, a Whipper that I named Nico after one of the pirates also from the Wind Waker, a Durant that I named Goma after the beast that plagues the Great Dooku Tree, and a Cufant that I named Baruta after the sacred beast from the Breath of the Wild. Pokemon breeder Polly has been giving me into trouble for not showing off all the cool egg moves that he's taken the time to breed onto the Pokemon. So let's have a quick look. Impressively, Skovit knows the move Last Resort, while Whipper knows Double Kick, which might prove to be a little bit difficult to execute with his tiny legs. Durant knows Metal Burst, which can be a very powerful addition to the team. Hopefully some of these will come in handy to help prevent the loss of any more of our dear companions. We head off to the power plant at the chairman's request, and it turns out that Galar gets his power by stealing the juice from my capture card, as the next section of gameplay didn't record properly, and I was left with simply a black screen and the game's audio playing in the background. Thanks, Rose. As such, I have made a rough recreation of the events, and by rough, I mean very rough. After chatting to the chairman in the power plant and learning that Galar gets its energy from wishing stars, we head off to the vault to have a look at some tapestries that depict the history of the Galar region.
Hey, listen!
Sonia is lying in wait for us and tells us that the tapestries depict 2 youths who come across a great evil darkening the sky. The 2 youths then lift their swords and shields skyward to strike down the evil and thus become the first monarchs of Galar. After telling her we think this might describe the darkest day, despite the obvious lack of Joltik, Sonia gives us another gift. 2 revives. Thanks. We sprint out of the vault before Sonia can see us burst into tears, and we charge into Route 6 where we take down some more of the young team who are blocking our path. We then obliterate a Helioptile that we're trying to catch, meaning we're missing yet another Pokemon. And as we arrive in Snow Side, we take a moment to admire the gigantic Trio monument on our way into the town. We have a wander around the settlement, and like a true rebel, start climbing across the rooftops in search of some sweet loot. This guy on the rooftop offers to trade an Impidimp for a Maractus, and I get the hell out of there as quickly as I can. I don't want a vengeful Ganon returning from the Sacred Realm to enact his revenge upon me. No, thank you. After diving off the rooftops to escape Ganon's grasp, we have a quick battle with Hop to try and lift his spirits. But I'm not sure the crushing defeat we dealt him really helped all that much. Despite not taking any part in the battle, Valoo gained enough experience from watching his teammates to evolve into Charizard, and despite now having wings to allow him to actually use Wing Attack, we opt to replace it with Air Slash instead. With that out of the way, it's time to take on the 4th gym leader, Alistair, who specialises in Ghost-type Pokemon. To take on the gym, I gather a team of Valoo, Goma, Makar, Snapper, Ravio, and Tail. We don't have many Pokemon that are strong against Ghost types, but luckily, we aren't overly weak to them either, so this shouldn't be too bad. Famous last words. As Ghosts are weak to Dark type attacks, Bite will likely be the move that carries us through this gym. The gym puzzle revolves around a spinning teacup that we must navigate through a maze by spinning it left or right. Making us dizzy before a battle seems like a dirty tactic, but I'm sure it won't manage to slow us down. The first trainer in the gym allows us to showcase the sheer power Goma possesses, thanks to its ability, Hustle. Each of the trainer's Pokemon is swept aside with a single bite, as Goma literally chomps his way through the competition. The following trainers are brushed aside with ease, but we do send out Makar to battle a Drifloon, before I realise grass and flying types don't tend to mix very well, so we instead rely on Valoo to net us the win. Let's have a quick look at Alistair's ace, Gengar, before we get into the battle. Gengar has a base stat total of 500, which seems a lot less threatening now that we also have some Pokemon with a base stat total in the 500s. However, Gengar has a speed stat of 110 and a special attack stat of 130, so it can hit us hard and fast, which has the potential to cause a major issue for our team. So we need to make sure Valoo or Goma are still healthy when Gengar enters the field. As a precaution, we use the Leaf Stone we've been hoarding to evolve Macker into Vileplume before the fight begins to boost the power of our team even further. Let's do this. Alistair starts off the battle by sending out his Yamask, and we send out Goma with the hopes of sweeping through most of Alistair's team with ease. This is where the drawbacks of Goma's ability come into play. While Hustle increases the power of moves, it does so at the cost of accuracy. Goma managed to miss 4 times in a row to start the battle off, which lets Yamask get 4 turns of free damage. This forces Goma to munch down on his berry before we've even managed to deal a single blow to the opposing Pokemon. Hardly the best of starts. When he does finally connect with his Metal Claw, as his bite was disabled in the first turn, the contact causes him to pick up the Wandering Spirit ability from Yamask, removing the benefits of Hustle, but also improving our accuracy. If only that had happened turn 1, we might not have missed so much. With Bite no longer disabled, Goma charges in and knocks the Spirit Pokemon out of action. Alistair then sends out his Cursula, and the Dead Coral Pokemon is another Pokemon that has an impressive special attack stat, this time sitting at 145. Luckily its defense stat is only 50 and it's pretty slow, so hopefully we should be able to kill it quite quickly. But thanks to having lost the Hustle attack boost, we can't score a one-hit KO, and the weakened Ant is quickly struck down. That's less than ideal. We send out Baloo, who delivers the final blow, finally allowing the poor Coral Pokemon to rest in peace. Climate change is bad, folks. Make sure to recycle so your Corsola can stay like this, and not like this. Alistair then sends out Mimikyu, and Baloo fires off an Air Slash that breaks the Disguised Pokemon's disguise. And in a much appreciated turn of events, they score a flinch, preventing the Pikachu lookalike from attacking. Charizard follows up with another Air Slash, taking away half of Mimikyu's health, and in a much needed stroke of luck, they score another flinch. What a 180 from the Fire Gem. One final Air Slash takes the Disguised Pokemon out of action, and nets us our 3rd KO of the match. Alistair then sends out the one Pokemon we've been dreading, Gengar. Knowing Gengar can cause some serious issues for us, we immediately Dynamax Baloo by infusing him with the power from our Wishing Star. Alistair then does the same to his Gengar, but in addition to growing in size, Gengar takes on a new appearance in the form of its Gigantamax. Luckily Baloo manages to outspeed the Gengar and fires off a Max Darkness that leaves the Shadow Pokemon dangerously low in health, as it counters with a Max Ooze. The stream of poisonous liquid strips away a 3rd of Baloo's health, while netting a special attack boost for Gengar that can spell trouble for the Guardian of Dragon Roost Island. Thankfully, one final Max Darkness claims the last of Gengar's HP, and the giant Tunnel of Love explodes before returning to his Pokeball to rest. And with that, we've earned ourselves the Ghost Badge. That wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm clearly just scarred from the battle we had against Kabu. Still, Goma single-handedly managed to deal with the trainers in Route 6, and the majority of the trainers in the gym, so his loss will surely be felt by the rest of his teammates. We then head out of the gym, where
Hey, listen!
Sonia is waiting for us. There's apparently an ancient monument in this town that she would like us to see. Suddenly, there's a loud crash coming from the direction of the monument, and that can only mean trouble. But I'm afraid you're going to have to wait till next week's episode to see what's going down. I've had enough of Sonia and her revise for 1 week. I hope you enjoyed this week's journey, and sorry about the missing footage. Hopefully the mock-up visuals and the storytelling have made up for it. As usual, please leave a like and comment to let me know if you enjoyed the episode. And please let any of your Poke friends know about the channel to help us grow. Join us next week as we check out what's gone down at the Stow-on-Side Monument, battle our way through the Glumwood Tangle, and take on the mysterious 5th gym. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.